parking spot?
Fire she blows! Loading zone starts. Pull hard to starboard. Too small. Seriously? Because it won't. Fire.
Dribbling.
Thunderation. To the north. Where there be parking spaces and trees wheels.
Geico. See all the ways you can
Tucked in there,
Thanks for
buddy.
calling 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Alone Together Pittsburgh. I am your host, Patrick Jordan. It is Friday night, which means we've gotten through another week here of this thing we're calling the what do we call it? The pandemic that we're dealing with here right now. So if it's your first time watching, thank you for welcoming us into your homes and mobile devices. A couple of things. We started this show as a way to keep a sense of community going. That's why we've had everybody from every walk of life on this show as a guest, and we continue to do so. We started this show, I believe, 48. Is it 47 or 48 weeks ago, Dave?
This is it, 47. We made it for real this time.
So we've just capped off week 47 of this show. Right. Over 400 some odd guests and 146 shows. So this is 147. There we go. Thank you, Dave. You'd think I'd figure this out. It's just moving up one every time, but every night it's the same thing. But isn't that what we're living in here? Isn't this like just a flat circle? My friend Steve-O was talking about the season 1 of True Detective, and it got me thinking about it. The whole life is a flat circle thing. I think it's case in point with this thing. That said, this is a pandemic, so we wouldn't be doing this without it. And every night I go over the COVID numbers in Allegheny County. We are trending in the right direction. Okay, I don't want to get too excited. 252 was the numbers today. So we've been under 300 for the last few days. We're going in the right direction. Last week was in the 400s before that, and obviously last month was in the thousands. We're there, but don't get cocky. The UK strand is here. So I want to tell everyone out there to continue to keep on wearing your masks. Keep on social distancing. I know every meeting being Zoom sucks. I know every party and event being Zoom sucks. I know watching this show might suck for you, but just, suck it up. Put your mask on. Bruce Springsteen would agree with me, even though he's not the go-to right now. But
put on a fucking mask.
That's what he says. So we're gonna stick with the boss on that one. All right, we can meet in the middle on that one. So that's good. The boss is going to be joining Joe Grishecki this Sunday at the light of day. It's going to be all online this year. You usually have to go to New Jersey for that. So check that out for a free shameless plug for that, helping out with everything there. That said, a couple other things. Ticking below me is our Venmo. It is @TogetherPGH. If you have the means to kick in a couple of bucks, if you like what you see, kick in a couple of bucks. If you don't like what you see, kick in a couple hundred. And that's all good. If you give $500 or more, you get to come on the show as a guest. So get on that right there. Anything else going on in the world? We're just going to keep it here. We've got a fantastic show lined up tonight. Very excited about it. So it's Friday, so you've got Natalie Bencivenga doing 5 minutes with, and she's got Michael Santiago on tonight. He's back again to see what he's been up to. Dave Bracey's going to be here because, it's Friday and we got to talk about some local brews. And the executive producer from the CLO, Mark Fleischer's here to talk about Songs for a New Year, new project that they've got going on over at the CLO. But before we get to our fantastic guests for the night, we've got an in-show poll that is brought to you by Engine House 25 Winery. So if you go to eh25.com, you can find out everything you need to know about Engine House 25 Winery. And if you mention that you found out about Engine House 25 from Alone Together Pittsburgh, you get $5 off per bottle. That's the discount that you get. So if you get a whole case of wine, that's $5 off per bottle. They've got some great swag. They've got every kind of red you can have. Also, if you forgot about that Valentine's Day present, boom, you can get some fantastic wine. They've got Valentine's packages and Valentine's fancy labels. They've got Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, and a bunch of killer reds from Zin, Meritage, and lots of different blends. You can even get Franco Harris's personal blend, the Franco Harris Cab. So get on that. The Clemente Cab is also a good one and also houses the Roberto Clemente Museum. So check them out, eh25.com. They're also doing curbside and free delivery in the 412 during this pandemic. But they're sponsoring what we call the LIL Jag. The LIL Jag off. We have a little contest every night, a little in-show poll coming at you. Tonight, it's got a little bit of a Valentine's Day vibe for you. Dave, tell them what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is said by quantum physicists and string theory theorists that there are many planes of existence unto which we as the human species quantifiably, undestinably exist. Multiple planes like multiple disks stacked on top of each other, spinning like a hard drive. And on one of those disks, the United States of America got a grip on the threat that was the pandemic, and everybody is having a very good Valentine's Day. And what does that mean? They get to go wherever they want for Valentine's Day. So your options on this Valentine's Day in what we shall call Planet X are as exists, Dish, Casbah, Altius, and Sheets. Well, Pittsburgh, it's for you to vote. Yes, I'm talking to you, Pittsburgh, that did the right thing, always chose the right mate, always was kind to all the people, never was the bully, and followed the best example that you could, 'cause what would Jesus do? Well, Pittsburgh, there's your little bite of humanity. Suck on it.
I tell you something, man. Dave, you impress me more and more every day because I want to get caught in a foxhole with you. I want to be on stage, right? What's he smoking, Mrs. Mansueto? I don't know. He's yours. But I'm saying right now, if you get Dave Mansueto on stage, you're on stage with him, and everybody forgets their lines, they forget what's going on, they don't know what's happening, Dave will fill until somebody picks up the mantle and runs with it, or goes off stage, gets the script, and comes back on. Because what you just saw there, Dave had no clue what the poll was when it started, and he basically had magic coming out. You guys just heard some serious Dave Mansueto magic.
That was Pete, Patrick. That was Pete did that one.
Wow, Pete, I can't believe you threw your voice. That's good. That's good. I like that speed of sound shirt, Pete. I love it. It's very good. It's very good.
2 nights in a row.
2 nights in a row. Good on you, man. And
Until
also
next week. Who knows? I'm not going anywhere.
That's right. Well, maybe if you're wearing that on Wednesday, props to you. Also, we've got our bunny cam or Bobcat Dogthwaite camera. We're going to be checking in with him periodically during the show. But it's the restaurants that you wish you could go to during the pandemic, or maybe you can get takeout from instead. We've got Dish, Casbah, Altius, and Sheets, which is getting 25% of the votes. So get your votes in right there. We'll be checking in on it periodically. We'll be asking our guests what they think about it. That's cool. Pete, Dave, anything else before we get rolling on this Friday night, capping off week 47?
Oh, I mean, I could get into some stuff if you want to get into some stuff.
I don't need to get into stuff. I meant, like, is there anything like you're itching that you think would, propel, engage the audience?
I had
or
a
should
pretty
just get
exciting afternoon, evening. Earlier, like back in the summer, I dropped something on my toe, and my toenail like became black and blue. You know, like when you get that like nasty like black and blue thing like under the nail.
I don't know.
And so it's been there like for like months, you know. And today it finally like.
Dave, okay, we're gonna check in with Pete later. Oh, Bunny, how you doing, buddy? Okay, all right, girl. All right, Bunny's gonna be checking in there, hanging out regularly. Let's get to the show. I think it's time. Okay, so our first guest, we talked about it. Oh, Beto's Pizza. JJ Jackson is into Beto's Pizza. Is it Beto's or Beto's? That's where the raw cheese is on it, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so whatever. We'll get to our first guest. All right, like I said, he's the executive producer of Pittsburgh, CLO. All right, they started a project called Song for a New Year. They commissioned 5 songwriting teams to write a song about the transition from 2020 to 2021. Now they had a singer record the song. They gave the track to a choreographer who created and danced and filmed it. So they've got 5 of these coming out. I think there's 2 more that are still to come. You can go check these out. We're going to play one for you right now, and then maybe towards the end of the show, if we have the time, we're going to pop in another one. So there you can see the people who collaborated on this. It's a great project, and from the 3 that I've seen, you definitely want to check these out. They are high quality, as you can see by our first number. I believe it's 12 Grapes, and we'll check out Mark Fleischer on the other side. Dave, roll tape.
My Thea would say, eat 1 grape for each month of the year. Eat them to make the troubles of last year disappear. And with each bite, make a wish and toss it to the sky. And next year, every hope and dream you wished for will arrive. And every eve of the new year, I'd close my little eyes and try to imagine a year much better than the last. And fast popping grapes with my whole fam, wishing and thinking of better lives than we all had. 12 bites, 12 wishes, 12 grapes, 12 months, 1 year, a million chances to make. We'd eat our grapes, yo, eat that fruit, it's so nutritious. Open that planet for the year to come, it's so ambitious. When I was a kid, yo, I thought there'd be enough. Eating grapes to wishes to existence and off the cuff. Making up in my head that was all I needed to do. And every vision of my future would arrive and damn it come true. But now I'm grown, and this year as we celebrate on our own, I know it's clear that hope is not a mere spectator sport. Massive changes can't rely on passive phrases of sorts. I need to move and shake and take my medicine to the street. Take a wish and a dream and make a change as I see. 12 bites, 12 wishes, 12 grapes, 12 months, 1 year, a million chances to make. We eat our grapes, so eat our fruit, it's so nutritious. Open that planet for the year to come, it's so ambitious. Wishes and prayers are best kept with the gospel, cause we can pray, stay and stay awake. Hoping and hoping for better days, but that hope is nothing without a passion and action to make change.
What up to all my companions? Thank God that we dancing. Been a little minute, now we be laughing, telling our stories and rapping, leaving the famine, putting our hope into action, filled with compassion, beyond harassment. The TikTokers talking classes, doing better than average. If we ain't really learned nothing, how we doing good adjustments? Speaking in public, fighting the government, building abundance. Oh Lord, I finally love it. Put it in my palms, touch it. Help it grow like it needs to. Give it sun, let it feed you.
Wishes and prayers are best kept with the gospel, cause we can pray each day and stay away. Hoping and hoping for better days, but that hope is nothing without a passion and action to make change.
Make change, like flipping a dime into a round, not losing time. Just hit hard with punchlines, so punch grind. It's punch time, call us when it's crunch time. And I punch mine like a landmine. I'm in your house like a landline. Ring, ring, don't touch it, it's mine. No, I'm playing, you can get it, it's fine. Know you're divine, get it every time. Clock not clockwise, no winds. Don't worry, you're wise. You will not be your demise.
You will be up a surprise.
You will be your highest high.
You go reach way higher heights.
You gon' find peace in the sky.
Bring it to earth, then we go glide.
Till the community rises.
Now we'll frequency high.
And we still raising the vibe.
Bring it to earth, and then we gon' glide.
Till the community rises. Now our whole frequency high. And we still raising the body. And we still raising the body. And we still raising the body.
Wishes and prayers are best kept with the gospel, cause we can pray, stay and stay away. Hoping and hoping for better days, but that hope is nothing without a passion and action to make change. This year I'll raise my grapes, not just for hope, but for the plan.
All right. There he is. Hey, Mark Fleischer, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, man?
How are you? So good to see you, Patrick.
Nice
Thanks
to
for
see
having
you.
us on.
Oh, my God. Please, thank you for being here. Thanks for doing what you're doing. I love this. This is a great concept, start to finish, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody was, kind of figuring out what the hell are we going to do, right? I know we've talked about this over the span of the last 11 months, coming up on a year, Mark.
I know.
So everybody's been trying to get creative, figuring out what to do. I know you guys at the CLO, you guys were doing a talk show, you guys were cooking up other things. So what spawned you to do songs for the new year?
So, like you said, when this all went down, I think we all tried to figure out what would it take for the organizations to survive, to stabilize. We were canceling shows, which was some of the worst days of my life. As we kind of got through that, and everyone was putting so much hope on 21 and 20, and I was like, well, who better to sort of capture this emotion than the artists? And so we also love doing new work, new shows, and I kept thinking about these artists that we've not been employing. That I know we've talked about a lot of different, but this industry is going to be one of the first to shut down. It was the first to shut down. It will be the last, probably to come back full. So I was thinking about this, and we have all these writers that we've been working with, and I just had this idea of, what if we commissioned to do a song? And then it kind of became this baton toss, as you mentioned, that I said, okay, well, then we can pick a singer. And so we came up with this sort of budget and plan to pay everybody to do this. And it just kind of started expanding. And we started with people we knew, and then they brought in some people we didn't know. And it's really kind of taken on its own. In some ways, I think Olivia O'Connor, our manager of new work, describes it as we've asked everyone to write their own Old Lang Syne.
Okay.
And all the songs have been so different. I mean, what you just saw with 12 Grapes by Ryan Quijada and Austin Dean Ashford is so unique to Resolutions, which is by Megan Brown and Sarah Taylor Ellis, and Matt Schatz has one we just released, Cynic Optimist, and we have two more. So I also have to say, for me, it was great to talk to artists and not be looking at spreadsheets and making every scenario that was going to be thrown out the next day, like we've been talking about.
Oh my God, yeah, that's the thing. Like people, we were even before the show started. I said, like, everybody's busting their ass for all day and night to try to get things rolling, and then at the end of the week, you've just worked like X amount of hours, and it's not going to happen. They move the field goal post. Lucy just picked up the ball again. And like Dolly Parton needs to change the name of the song from 9 to 5 to like 6 to 10 is where I'm coming from here, because everybody's like working so hard and really having little to show for it. But this was a great concept. I mean, this from start to finish, and you guys were the perfect group to do it, because you have access to such great talented people. I mean, just everybody. And like you said, each one of these songs is so different from the next, but they're all amazing and have that same kind of thread that what we're all going through.
Yeah, and I think when we started and we did the talk show, it was like musicals became the hard part. People were doing Zoom readings and Zoom shows, and we sort of decided initially at CLO to take care of our students at the CLO Academy first. So Keisha and her staff, their amazing group, got 200 classes online in like 4 days. Because when you're a theater kid like I was, those friends were so important. And at the district, and for us, it's 40 school districts in 3 states converging on the academy downtown. So we wanted to make sure that happened first. Then we went to the talk show, which was really a way to kind of connect with our artists, both locally and nationally. And then we started doing classes on the internet with people from all over the country. Rob Marshall came back and did a class. Patrick Page did a class. I mean, it's Beth Level, a Tony winner. Really amazing to do for these kids.
And that's the one thing. Yeah, that's the one thing that I feel like that people were able. The one positive that came out of this is you could take a master class with Rob Marshall. Yeah. You know, you could get you would never be able to get him to fly in and work out his schedule and get everything to like go and talk, but an hour in his apartment, you know what I mean? I'm sure Rob has more than an apartment, but
he's got probably a couple.
I think he might, yeah.
Yeah, but that's the kind of thing. Geography didn't become an issue, but more than that, I think, much like your show here, it became Pittsburgh needed the people that were from Pittsburgh, and they stepped up, and they started coming home via the internet, to do these classes. And then when we would do the interview show, but we wanted to get back to creating work, because what we were doing was just kind of talking about work. And we did Christmas Carol, thanks to WQED, was a great combination to put that on TV so that we could find a way to do it. But this allowed us to sort of start what's this moment about? And the song you just saw, which Brian Quijada had never worked with Austin before. They wanted to work together. Brian's been in town before. He did a show for us in the festival called Somewhere Over the Border, which is this amazing new show about his mother's immigration from El Salvador up to America, mashed up against The Wizard of Oz.
Oh,
So
nice.
the three people she meet, it's really, really great. And he also had done a show at City where we sit on the bus. So we had known him. And then Jewel, who choreographed it, was the associate choreographer on Once when we did it. And so just kind of, a lot of these are blind dates to just say go. And the thing they really kind of liked about it was how fast they had to work. So they're like, and we actually, I think yesterday interviewed this team from this on our show, Close-Ups, if people want to go back and find it. And it's really just how they came up with the idea. And it really became sort of that, yes, and they wrote the song, this person did the lyrics, and it's just really been an amazing experience to just see art that's happened now.
I mean, I love that. I love that aspect of it. Also, the artists now have this thing.
Yep.
Right. So they have like not just the video, but they have this song. Right. So they can build off of this, and I mean, everything. These are polished songs. I mean, we're not going to run the whole song here, but we're just going to play just so you can just see the film work, and it's the woman dancing here, Morgan. I mean, who videotaped this? I mean, who?
So this is interesting. So Megan and Sarah, who've worked with us as writers before, we have a show we're developing of theirs called These Girls Have Demons, about 4 high school girls who get possessed by demons. Right. And then when it comes time for their exorcism, they decide they're okay. They're going to deal with the demons. It's really great. So we asked them to write a song. They pass it off to Stephanie Clemens, who's been a choreographer and an actor for us. She choreographed Rock of Ages. Well, she then storyboarded it all out and called Morgan, who's a friend of hers, and they literally talked the shot. So Morgan actually shot it herself and then sent the clips back to Stephanie, who then created the piece. I mean, it's sort of this, and Morgan's in California, and Stephanie's in New York. Megan is also in California, and Sarah, who wrote the music, is in Berlin. So I mean, a really sort of amazing. And again, you're right. Like we had said, oh, let's all work together. Years ago, we were like, oh, well, we can't fly you in. We don't, So I think we found a way to sort of use the current environment to its best way.
And this piece was super powerful too. I mean, it got me like 3 different times during it.
Get the feels in this one. Yeah.
This is it. So, and everything else is fantastic there. So what else? You have 2 more of these coming up in the next. Are they coming out once a month?
I laugh. We've become MTV when they used to do videos. So we do a video release on Thursday. Olivia hosts this. We usually try to pair it with an interview with the team. So next week we have one called No More Soggy Bottoms, inspired by the Great British Bake Off and how all of us started cooking a lot more. And then another one by Jillian Walker and Kassan Henry after that. And then we'll see where this goes. But this was just sort of an experiment. As I said, a goal to do some art with some amazing people. And then also, to put some money in artists' pockets for them to do their work.
Absolutely. And that's super important. 2 quick questions for you then. All right. Gut check right now won't hold you to it. When do you think we're opening up, even at half capacity?
I mean, we're doing everything
Theaters.
we can. This summer is our 75th anniversary at CLO. We're about to come up on what would be our Founders Day of February 20th, 1946. I do love this. I always love this story if I can, that, 2 city fathers got together and said, what we need after World War II to make Pittsburgh better is musicals. So we're here 75 years later. So we're doing everything we can to find a way to do something this summer with our season that we've announced. But again, like you and others, there's so much beyond our control. And so everyone wearing their mask. My board president the other said, if everybody wants live theater, there's 2 things they can do. Wear their mask and get their vaccine when it's their turn. So that's my advice if you want to see live theater. Oh, look, the webpage is up.
Look at that. We got it all here, Mark.
You got all of it. It's just amazing. So we're doing everything we can. We've got classes going. We're trying to figure out the season. But I know, like you, a lot of us are getting together every week or every month to figure out how we can do this.
All right, well, we'll keep that up. Now, one other question.
Yeah.
Where do you fall in our online poll for the night? What's the restaurant you wish you could go?
Oh, that's easy.
What's
Casbah.
that? Casbah. All right. Dave,
I used to go there all the time, sit there at the bar, have great food, love the octopus, love all their food. Just, I would love to go back there again. I used to live in that neighborhood, so it was a lot easier.
Is Casbah, they're doing takeout, and I think
they're doing takeout. I've actually done it.
Right,
I
yeah.
did an amazing takeout date night with them. So, yeah.
This is good. Dish, I miss Dish.
Yeah.
Dish was my go-to spot forever. And then they closed, and it broke my heart. And then they reopened, and I went once, and then I had to close again. So it was like, but anyway, they're back. All tears up in Mount Washington, not getting love, but I know Natalie likes it. I like it there too. And Sheets is actually is pulling it. All right, cool. So we'll keep the votes coming. But Mark, thanks so much, man. If anything comes up, and if you ever want to come back on the show, please come.
Anytime we will. Thanks for all you're doing. I know can't believe it's been as long as it's been, but
I don't know. It actually kind of hit us last night when we were just like going through the numbers, and we're like, oh my God, is that 11 months?
Yeah, March 16th, I think will be the date, right? Where it will happen.
We haven't missed a week since the day of the shelter in place thing started. And I think we did one show a week twice, and that was because Christmas was like on a Thursday, and then New Year's was on like a Thursday or something. So we were just like, screw it, we'll just do the one show. But we kept the streak alive anyway. Well, keep on doing what you're doing, and stick around if you're watching. We're going to try to run that video that you saw a little piece of towards the end of the show tonight after we do Local Brews with Dave Bracey. But Mark, thanks so much. Keep on doing what you're doing, and hope to talk to you soon, man.
All right, bye everybody. Thanks.
Thanks so much. PittsburghCLO.org. Check it out. They are a fantastic organization. It's not just the amazing shows that you see, their educational classes, outreach. It's you can't beat it. And Songs for a New Year, you can check on them right now. I think there are 3 songs that you can check on right now. And if you can see the one with Latre, you'll love it because Latre is awesome. He's the one second from the left there on the top. Everybody's awesome, but I got a soft spot for Latre. He's amazing. So anyway, moving along here, before I bring out our next guest, actually, you know what? Let's just do it. Our next guest, it's Friday. So what everybody waits for is 5 Minutes with Natalie Bencivenga. Tonight's guest, Michael Santiago. Let's see what happens.
Hey, everybody. I'm Natalie Bencivenga, and welcome to 5 Minutes with. This is a really special 5 Minutes with because I've never actually had a repeat guest on. So for all of you at home that may not know, Michael Santiago. Hi, Michael. It's great to see you. He was on a while back over the summer talking about things that were happening at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette as a photojournalist, but he is no longer there. He is now the staff news photographer with Getty Images, and I am so thrilled to have him on and to sort of see what he's been up to. So how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Whole lot better than the last time I was on here, so I'm pretty grateful for that.
That's awesome. I know I feel like when I ask anybody how they're doing anymore, it's such a loaded question because of the world that we now live in. But yeah, I'm glad that things have turned around in a positive way. So what have you been doing ever since you left the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette over the summer?
So since I left, I joined Getty Images as a staff news photographer, which has been great because I thoroughly really enjoy covering news. Everything that I'm doing now is just news. I don't do sports anymore. I don't do like a lot of entertainment stuff anymore. I don't do scenes anymore. And it's more now. It's not. When I worked at Pittsburgh, stuff there was pretty much centralized and localized because it was the area newspaper. But now I'm working more on a national scale where I get to go to different places. I'm based out of New York, so I cover a lot of stuff that happens here, but I have the opportunity to go to different places and, pretty much, be at all the locations where major news is happening. And that's pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been following you obviously since you've been with us in Pittsburgh, but of course I continue to follow your work and you've just blown up all over the place. So what has it been like to be a photojournalist right now, having COVID happening around us? You're out in public spaces, you're at rallies, you're in places that perhaps people aren't being as conscientious about wearing a mask. Can we just talk about first just the safety issues that you're experiencing trying to cover journalistic conversations around our communities?
Yeah, I mean, well, it really hasn't changed since I left Pittsburgh. I mean, I'm still doing the same kind of things, just in different locations. And I'm still taking the same protocols. Sometimes I wear 2 masks. I try and wipe down my equipment as much as possible. I'm always using hand wipes and stuff like that. Thankfully, I haven't been in too many places where people aren't wearing masks. I think the one location where I can think of where a lot of people weren't wearing masks was at a Trump rally back in, I think, November, October, something like that. But other than that, a lot of people, they're being cautious and still wearing masks. Like even when I go, when I cover protests, people are still aware of the fact that, that we are in a pandemic and people are wearing masks. There might be a few stragglers here and there who don't wear them or won't wear them properly, but they're still wearing a mask. And I don't think that this is something that it's going to change anytime soon. Like even with the vaccine being rolled out, I think unfortunately this is the new normal, and we just still have to be cautious from them going forward. I don't see this going away anytime soon. So we just gotta be, like I said, cautious no matter where you go.
And speaking of that, being in your position as a journalist, as a Black man in America, have you felt any more of that sort of heightened energy being in some of these places, covering some of these rallies? How does that impact you sort of mentally and emotionally? And how have you been able to sort of protect yourself from a lot of these things that you could otherwise internalize from your job?
I think the way that it affects me is that it gives me, I would say, like a great sense of pleasure. The fact that I get to be at these places and documenting the stuff. I remember, talking to somebody at Getty, they told me to look at myself as a historian because we are out there capturing history basically. And a lot of our stuff does go pretty much into archives. So, and I'm a history nerd. So I love the fact that I get opportunity to kind of like be out there, quote unquote, be a historian. So, I really, really enjoy that, and like I said, it's not just like at one location. I'm basically doing national stuff. So I'm out at a lot of different places. So I would say, like, as a Black journalist, it's an honor to be out there and being part of that and capturing, history as it's unfolded, because like we said earlier, we are dealing with COVID. This is a pandemic. That's something that hasn't happened in a long time. So every day is a historical image, no matter what it is.
Has there been anything that you've taken photos of that has just like really stuck with you? I mean, I know you're taking so many pictures all the time, and it's easy to forget kind of where you're even at with all of this. But has there been anything that's really resonated with you during this experience?
I would say being in Georgia and covering the Senate race, just because it's something that, like there's only been like in the past, in the history of America, I think only 11 senators that are Black in this country, and I got the opportunity to tag along with one of those senators, and as he creates history. Not only that, but he's also, he's also the preacher at Martin Luther King Jr.'s church, and not only that, but we also now have a Jewish millennial who's now a senator, which is something completely new as well. So like both their wins in Georgia was historic.
Yeah.
Also because they also flipped the state blue as well. So just being there and just hearing them speak and just being a part of that was kind of amazing. It sticks in my head. And even now, like, it's been over a month since I was in Georgia, and I'm still seeing images pop up every so often. Like yesterday, I think NPR ran one of the photos yesterday. So the images are still coming up, and these are images that I'll continue seeing like over and over again throughout the course of the year.
No, I just think it's so cool when I see something now and I see your name attached. I'm like, I knew him when. It's pretty awesome. And now that we've moved into this new era with this new administration, as a journalist, as a photojournalist, have you felt a shift from Washington in terms of how journalists are being treated overall? Because obviously the last administration was so antagonistic. Have you felt a shift in your work at all?
I can't really say that I have yet because since the inauguration, it's been, I mean, it's been a little quiet. So, you know, a lot of things that I've been covering the past few weeks since the inauguration have been kind of just like, you know, decent, not decent, but quiet stuff, you know, like I've had maybe just one rally, and it was a rally for, undocumented immigrants who, you know, who are seeking COVID relief and so asking the Biden administration for help. So, I mean, so that's the one thing I would say that is a continuation of what was happening on the last few years. But other than that, like I haven't been at anywhere where I can say that things feel different yet. So I don't really know that I can answer that yet just yet.
Just yet, it's still kind of early. Yeah, that makes sense. And you know, looking at it from like the larger perspective, I see so much changing so rapidly in media and where we're getting our news from and how we're taking in the news. Where do you feel like your role plays into this changing landscape as a photojournalist for Getty in particular?
I mean, I it hasn't changed from what it was back then because I'm still covering news that I feel strongly about, you know, especially when I pitch stuff. You know, that's never going to change no matter who's in government because unfortunately things don't seem to change, you know. I mean, it seems that this administration is looking to finally make amends for a lot of the things that's happened in this country, and they are looking to bring some changes to this country. So hopefully, like, if I cover some of those situations, it'll be for something, you know, for the better. But other than that, like, you know, this country's a revolving door when it comes to a lot of these issues. You know, one person says they're going to get rid of it and change it, and it never happens. And we just keep continuing talk about the same things over and over again. So until we actually have some people in government who can actually bring about some change that is needed to this country, I'll be covering the same things again, over and over again, no matter who's in charge.
Yeah, so even without COVID, it still kind of feels a little bit like Groundhog Day all day, every day.
Exactly.
As we wrap up this 5 minutes with, I was just curious, from your perspective, you know, you're such an incredible photojournalist. And the thing that I love about your work is I love the humanistic element that you bring to every photo and always trying to find that connective energy between you and the subject. But what is it for you that makes a great photo?
If the photo evokes some kind of emotion in the viewer, that's a successful photo. You know, whether that triggers a memory from childhood or something like that. If it evokes some kind of anger inside you, if it evokes sadness inside you, if it evokes some kind of empathy, especially, that to me is a successful image, and that's what I strive to do every time I hit my shutter button. You know. Sometimes I am looking to just kind of just fill those voids of things that I need, but other times I am looking to make an impactful image, no matter what it is that I'm photographing. You know, I want my photos to trigger something inside of you to make you think differently, or just to like think critically about whatever it is the subject matter is. And that's pretty much what I try to do every time I go out there.
That makes total sense. And my last question for you is, as a journalist, as a person in this country who is hoping for things to grow and change and to be better, what is your hope as we move into this next era, this next phase? What do you hope to see come out of the Biden administration from your perspective of everything that you're covering and being on the front lines and witnessing history? What do you hope will change?
I mean, I'm hoping that, you know, there's no longer any protest. The people marching in the streets are fighting for a living wage, fighting for health care. Those are the two biggest things that I'm hoping to see. Like, you know, if people are out there marching, I want them to be out there celebrating the fact that they no longer have to deal with not making a living wage and not having health care. Those are the two things in this country that I think are, you know, two of the most important topics right now, and will, you know, have always been and will continue to be until something changes. So my hopes that, you know, like I said, just people out there celebrating the fact that those are no longer an issues. You know, like it's you know, we keep seeing the same stories over and over again, and nothing changes. And so those are the two things that I'm really hopeful that will finally change.
Yeah. Michael for president. Thanks for spending a little bit more than 5 minutes with me, Michael.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Outstanding.
Oh.
Oh man, that's great. I am so like watching this. Please check out Michael Santiago on Instagram. Follow him right now. M Santiago Photos. Get on it right now. I'm like, first off, I am very happy for him.
Me too.
That he is at Getty in a better place than he was. I am just still so sad and pissed off that we lost him from Pittsburgh as just being here shooting for us. But now he's shooting for us on the national level. And people forget, you know, like people look at pictures and don't realize, you know what I mean, that it's an art form. Mm-hmm. And when you ask Michael that question about, you know, what you're looking for out of an image, I thought his answer was just pitch perfect.
Yeah, he's such an awesome person. And what I've always loved about him is his sense of compassion and also optimism. And I loved when I didn't expect that answer from him when I, you know, said what do you feel as being a Black man, as a photojournalist covering these? And he said this sense of, you know, pride. And I wasn't expecting that. And that just sums him up completely. He's such an optimist and he's so positive and thoughtful. And I just so appreciate his work. And I was so excited that he was able to make time, because I've been trying to have him on for a couple of weeks now, but he's been so busy. So it was so nice that he was able to make time to be on the show. And I knew everybody would want to know what's going on with him. So it was a good thing to catch up on.
Well, I'm glad you did. And it's also like you're like, as pissed off as you are that he's not here in a selfish way, like the fact that he's obviously in such a better place.
Yeah, he is.
You can see it. Like there's like his whole energy has shifted from the last time you guys talked. He was able to say what he was thinking. He didn't want to hold anything back, to be like, you know, correct about, you know, the issues that happen.
A lot more real and much more of the Michael I know, which is just, you know, incredibly thoughtful and sincere. And he was able to really just speak his truth in his mind. And his images and his work really do speak for themselves. He's such a fantastic photojournalist. And I'm just so glad that he's getting, you know, just props now with this position and getting to have his work really everywhere on the cover of newspapers and front pages and everywhere. It's just awesome to see him just soaring like this. It's
That's
just
where it belongs.
Happy.
Well, that is fantastic. And but before we let you go, Natalie.
Yeah.
So you're a nationally syndicated advice columnist, as everyone as we know here, right? And you can ask Natalie advice at gmail.com. Have you got anything? We're crushed on time, but have you gotten anything since we spoke about this last?
Oh yeah, I have a good one. What would you do? This was part of this week's column. What would you do if your girlfriend, who's from the Caribbean, decided she's had enough of COVID and the way the United States is responding to it, and she's decided she's moving back to her home, and you can come or not, but she's going? What would you do? And you've been together a long time. That's a big move, right?
It's like, I mean, but what are the restrictions in the Caribbean? How far into the Caribbean are we going? Are we talking like U.S. Virgin Islands? Or are we talking?
I don't know. It was just very vague, but it was just like she's done, she's over it, and she's leaving.
Real quick, where are they geographically?
I don't know. It just
see, that's the deal. If they're like in Minnesota, I'd be like, I'm going to the Caribbean. You know what I mean?
But the person that wrote me the letter said they love to visit the Caribbean, but they're just not sure if they could truly live on an island like full time. So that's
what would you tell them?
Well, when I give advice, I try not to give advice in a way. It's like I'm trying to get them to think the situation through without dictating to them what they should say. And really, my issue with this is, if she's willing to make this decision very much unilaterally, what happens if you move there and then she decides she's going to break up with you unilaterally? Or, is this how you want to have a partnership where it's really not a partnership, it's just one person dictating? So to me, that's the bigger issue than whether you should move or not. It's, do you want to move with somebody that's really not factoring you into their decisions, especially after you've been together a very long time? That's concerning.
Yeah, ultimatums never tend to work well with relationships in general.
And I don't think it's good to move under the pretense if I don't, what will happen, you know? So I would I'd hesitate in that situation because it did not sound like a conversation. It sounded like an ultimatum to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
I haven't heard of anybody really like feeling that fed up yet that they're actually going to move, but I'm sure people have.
Yeah, pandemic issues. I mean, but I mean, I can understand like going to like, what is it, Norway, Finland?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're the ones that are killing it right now with COVID. That like they're like really got this shit locked down.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. I like it. Well, Natalie, thank you so much as always. And if you have a question for Natalie, you can always hit her up at asknatalieadvice@gmail.com. And you can tune in next Friday for another installment of 5 Minutes with Natalie Bencivenga. Maybe it might even be on another day other than Friday. We have to talk after the show. All right. Okay, so as we wind down this show, it's time to get real. Before we bring out our next guest, though, I want to give a shout out to Boobly Bear over here. Bunny sounds to be out of it. It might be an awkward time to talk about Farm to Table, Pittsburgh. Talking about another sponsor for the show. That would be Farm to Table. If you go to farmtotablepa.com, you can find out everything you need about buying fresh and buying local, keeping it real, keeping it local. You can find everything where the farmers markets are currently, where they're going to be, where you can get your CSAs, and just about every other question you have to answer. And be sure to tune in every Wednesday. You can see a full segment from Farm to Table. Oh my goodness, Bunny's awake. Bunny, are you okay? Is everything all right? Are you okay? Don't give me the side eye, Bunny. We're talking here. All right, Bunny. You just relax. Keep giving watch. A silent watcher, letting this go. Don't bull your neck at me. All right. So anyway, moving along, keeping things going. Okay, Boomer. Okay, Boomer. That's what it's come to. All right. Okay. I'll stick with Lil Pumpkin. Anyway, it's Friday night. We get to talk to one of my favorite guests. We talk about local brews and anything else that's brewing on his mind. Please welcome Day Bracey. You dig your new theme music?
No, I love that dog. I mean, you know, he looked up and was like, yo, what the fuck is going on? This is very unexpected. I feel like he should be paid for his time. Like that is, look at this guy. He's like, wow. He's a star right there in the making.
Well, he saves my ass every night. Whenever I start running out of shit to say, they bring the dog up and nobody cares.
Man, that guy's carrying it. Look at him.
Look at it. Hey, Bunny. You all right, Bunny? All right, Bunny, just chill. That's cool, buddy. I feel the same way, buddy. All right. So, anyway, Day, how are you? How was your week since we spoke last?
It was a week. I'm alive. So that's dope. And I took a shower, which is also nice. It's been a very long time. It's not always that I do that between takes. So, yeah, I feel a little bit more human. And you know, I feel like the world is starting to, you know, look forward to spring a little bit. You know, the weather, the sun is a little, you know, out a little bit longer. And it just, I don't know, the mood is a little brighter, despite the ass bag that's going through impeachment at the moment. So a little less like Groundhog's Day these days.
Yeah, but it's like I'm nervous about that, right? Is that weird? Have I been totally like broken by this pandemic that like, no, like positivity or like a light at the end of the tunnel makes me like nervous, like something's gonna happen, something's gonna go like I'm not gonna get there.
It's all something. So you know, I'm a perpetual pessimist, and something's around the corner. And you know, I've learned in life that like it's a roller coaster. I mean, it is just what it is. I mean, no matter the goal is to ease the ebb and flow, so that the highs aren't so high and the lows aren't so low, and appreciating it. You know, and that's the thing is appreciating the lows and knowing that they're not always going to be there, and the highs and knowing that they're not going to always be there. So, you know, I take joy when I can, knowing and preparing for the worst when it's around the corner. So, that's where I'm at now. I'm in this like, when's something's coming, but it's not right now. So I'm enjoy the fact that the sun stays out a little past 5 o'clock these days. You know what I mean?
I'm with that.
It's not the worst,
So speaking of that, what's this beverage, Scenic West, I'm looking at right now?
Oh, well, big fan of Trace Brewing down there. Adam Sorma, he's a man about town. If you know anything about the food and beverage industry, man, that guy is, man, he's everywhere. He's always positive, and maybe that's part of the reason why. I actually, got to see him this week. Had a conversation down there at Trace Brewing, and he went out to New Mexico and brought back this beer here, which is a New England IPA. And it's a brewery called Bow and Arrow, and it's a woman-owned Native American brewery out in New Mexico. So maybe the only female Native American that owns a brewery. There's not a lot of women that own breweries or Native Americans that are alive today. So it's probably the only female Native American owned brewery in the country, and this is a very good, solid offering of a New England IPA. Mm-hmm. So I was super excited to have this. It's called Scenic West. I'd imagine that's because it's coming across from New England down through to New Mexico. I have no idea. Didn't get a chance to talk to her yet. Would be dope to.
It's got a New Mexico vibe. The Scenic West. You're in the West. Hey. I see the landscape.
Hey, you know what I mean. So very solid offering, and I'm looking forward to hopefully working with them. As part of the festival this year. COVID willing and whatnot. So shout out to Adam and the folks down there at Trace. And speaking of Trace, mm-hmm. while I was down there, I stopped, grabbed some of this double IPA.
All right.
It's called Double Hemisphere. And I love the can art again. Their graphic designer is a beast. And these hops in here. You got the Cashmere hops, and the Nelson Sauvin, Citra and Matuka. So the Citra is going to give you the citrus. The Cashmere is going to be more of a kind of a vanilla, and the Nelson Sauvin gives it that that kind of winey grape flavor.
Okay.
But it also has a little bit, it has a little bit of that. It's not completely taken out. The hop notes aren't completely taken out. So it has a little bit of bitterness on the back end of it. But not enough for, I think I like this as a introduction to IPAs. If you don't want to hop bomb, your first time out, but you don't want it to be overly juicy and devoid of any of that dank, this is a nice kind of beginner beer, a beginner IPA beer to dabble in. So it's a double. So it's a little higher in the ABV. What are we looking at here? 8.1. So one or two of these is gonna be a night. So shout out to them. And again, it's nice to walk in there. The most diverse staff that I've seen in Pittsburgh, and I mean in a lot of the parts of the country that I drank in. You just walk in and it's colorful and people are happy, and you can really tell the vibe of an establishment nice. when the employees are treated well. And it comes through in the product. So shout out to those guys out there in Bloomfield doing the damn thing.
Lovely.
Yeah. So today I stopped up in Zelienople, and
like you do on a Friday.
Every once in a while, shout out to Shoe Brew. Shoe Brew up there making great shit. If you don't know about Zeli, up in Butler, it's become, it's a bit of a trail, a destination for beer. So you got Shoe Brew up there, you got Burgers Brewing, and you got Union Brothers, as well as Harmony Ridge, which is an offshoot of North Country. So within about a mile radius, there's 4 very good breweries up there. And I stopped up at Shoe Brew, one of the longest friends that we've had as part of Drinking Partners. We did one of our first live podcasts there, and it was weird because a couple of black fellas driving up to Trump country to tell dick jokes in front of white people was we didn't know how they were going to take it, and they by the end of it they loved it, and we've been friends ever since. And
you won them over.
We did.
Like Rocky at the end of Rocky IV. You know what I mean? Like the Russians were chanting your name.
Yeah. True. And on the before I left there, it was great. They allowed us to name a beer.
Oh.
Before we left, and it was a Belgian triple, which this is. This is the first time they put this Belgian triple in cans. And they, it's a 9% blonde ale. And we named it Tanya Harding.
Why?
Well,
I mean, I love it, but why?
Because it's a blonde, and it'll take the legs from under you.
There it is. I had hoped for it.
Yeah, it's best on ice.
Oh, Dave's so quick. He cut me. Beautiful.
So we named it Tanya Harding. It was Tanya Harding for a while, and then they dropped the Harding. I would imagine for lawsuit purposes,
because Tanya will be all over that.
Yeah, but this is the first time that they've actually put it in cans. And super excited to have it. It's a 9.2% Belgian triple, and I mean, the fact that they print it, it'll take the legs out from under you.
I want it. I want it right now. I want to drink that right this second.
And like I say, with that 9.2, man, it's so smooth and deceptive that you never see it coming.
Just like Nancy Kerrigan, I'm telling you, I want that beer. I need to get my hands on that beer.
This might be I don't know, one of my proudest moments in craft beer, man.
I'm feeling it for you, man. I'm in awe right now.
It was the first time that we ever got to name a beer, and the fact that it has become a staple of the brewery, and that brewery we have been able to build a friendship over the years. It's just, and they just continue to grow and get better as the years pass. And speaking of Chinese New Year, because it is Chinese New Year, they actually have General Shoes right across the street from the brewery that specializes in Chinese cuisine. So you can go up there and get some decent brews and some General Shoes chicken on the side. And both the beer and the booze, I mean, both the booze and the food are very top notch. It's one of the few places where the food is just as good as the beer. So shout out to Zealand Opal and Shoe Brew.
Nice. That's great. All right. So I wonder, do you have any more beers to talk about?
Well, I got one last one.
Okay, great. No, good, because I wanted to dip into something else with you.
Well, it's so this is it used to be a bottle of something. I don't know what it is because it doesn't have a label. But oftentimes home brewers will use old bottles for their booze. So I actually got to stop by and pick up some beer from a young black home brewer named Marcus Wyatt, who's new on the home brewing circuit, and brewed up this sour ale, this fruited sour ale. Comes in at about, what he said, about 6.5. And it's not a bad offering. He's been brewing for about 3 years now. He's looking to get into the industry. Anybody watching right now that might own a brewery or work around a brewery that might have some leads, by all means, hit me up. But yeah, I mean, it's dope because he got into brewing around the same time that we started Fresh Fest, and he's, from what I'm told, it was a bit of an inspiration as well. So it's just dope to be able to taste some of the progress that we're making here locally, in the craft beer scene. And a lot of the in fact, all of these brews that I'm drinking and I've reviewed on the show, they started out just brewing in these weird bottles in their basement. So it's nice to get to know somebody, somebody's story, in the beginning. And I'm looking forward to seeing his growth and development moving forward. And this is a solid offering for a home brew. I mean, it definitely will get you there. So shout out to Marcus, Marcus, and the whole home brewing scene.
That's awesome, man. That is fantastic. Now, thank you for the wide variety of beers you got us tonight. This has been like around the world kind of stuff. I'm thrilled. I am sold on Tanya. I have to somehow get my hands on some Tanya. But want to ask you something else. I saw headlines about it today. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see what happened with Dave Chappelle and Netflix? I mean, as a comedian, content writer, anything like that, I just want to see what you thought of that.
I mean, I think that it's dope that there's a conversation being had about intellectual property and how how artists in general are treated by the corporate America. Oftentimes, and people don't always see it. People just see people that are famous and they go, oh, they've got the life, and it's all smooth sailing and whatnot. But oftentimes, writers, creatives, they're underpaid. And they're underpaid from the beginning. When I first started, doing my first show, I got paid $25 to do it. I was happy to do it. I spent that $25 on a couple of beers and, maybe some gas in my tank if I had a little bit left over. And, throughout my career, I've had to consistently turn down gigs because they didn't pay properly. And there's a lot of people making money off of comedy and you're an actor, there's a lot of people making money off of actors and a lot of these artists and creatives, except for the artists and creatives themselves. Right. And again, I think the larger society doesn't see that. They don't see how, paying $5 for a show, I don't care what kind of show it is, if it's music, if it's theater, if it's comedy, $5 isn't paying any fucking body anything. I mean, and I understand that this is a blue collar town and that the cost of living is cheap, but I mean, it's wild to see these $5-10 shows. What do you expect to see for that? And people don't want to pay more than that, but they'll readily pay $90 to see, Kevin Hart come into town or something like that, And I think that with Dave Chappelle, he kind of shed light on the fact that, whether or not you consider Dave Chappelle underpaid, you have to look at the amount of money that his work and his name created versus what he was paid for that. And, it was wild that, he had created this pop culture phenomenon and wasn't even getting paid for any parts of that, afterwards. I mean, he's very still alive and kicking, and his show is there, and he's not getting a dime from that. I think that's a conversation that should be had from top to bottom, and I'm glad that he was able to move some of that and get. And again, not everybody has the power that Dave Chappelle has. Right. They don't have that. He's not. Not everybody's a household name and can just hit up a Netflix executive and be
like, "Hey, stop showing my shit."
Yeah. Nah, you mean So I hope that people kind of see the issues therein, and even throughout this pandemic, whenever we do come back to live events and things of that nature, that people are asking those questions. and saying, yeah, hey, who's really benefiting from this show, and even ask, am I paying enough for this? Like,
Right.
I mean, because if you're paying $5 for the show, the only people getting paid for that are the venue that is selling the beer and the producer that's doing the show. Those artists, they're not, and everybody's winning except for them. So, shout out to Dave Chappelle for getting what's deserved.
Getting a conversation going. Another thing also that goes from like comedians, actors, entertainers in general, but also like if you're getting takeout, you might want to tip a little more than a buck for somebody to do that on takeout. Just because
20%, man, you should be tripping
across the board.
That's it. If you go into a restaurant, somebody's in there on the front lines facing COVID. In order to give you some chicken fingers, they deserve 20%. That's just at the least. You know what I mean? And like to be clear, we shouldn't be on a tipping system. I mean, the owner of the restaurant should be paying them enough that we shouldn't have to. They shouldn't have to rely on the kindness of strangers as a whole nother. You know what I mean? But as we're in this tipping system, 20%, man, at least, or else stay the fuck home, man.
Yeah, I'm with that. Well, on that note, hoping to see you back next week. Got anything else you want to brew on while you're here?
I think somebody was asking the favorite beer or whatever. I don't really have a favorite. I don't really have a favorite beer per se. There's a lot of beers out there, but my favorite style is a stout. I like the dark, roasty, chocolately, coffee flavors. I like an American stout, which gives a little bit of hop character to it as well. It's just it's a good year-round thing for me. But I'm also the kind of guy that used to drink milk while playing basketball in the summer heat. So I'm maybe not the best guy to ask about beverages.
I don't think maybe is a word that I would use for that. Like it's 95 degrees, blacktop basketball court. Everybody's got some hot Gatorade, but not day.
I got the milk chug, man. I brought out the milk chugs. It was, man,
damn dude.
So
yeah, well, it's good. That's why you got those strong bones today. but good stuff, man. Well, thanks so much. There's something else I want to talk to you about offline. I don't have to do it tonight, but I might give you a call tomorrow about some beer related stuff. But thank you so much, and hopefully we see you next week.
Oh, for sure, man.
For another installment of Local Brews with Dave BRACEY. So I think it's coming time towards the end of the show here. Dave, real quick before we wrap, we got 4 restaurants that are potential restaurants that you wish you could go to if it wasn't for COVID. Maybe they're not open. Maybe you don't feel like dining in a restaurant. Is there any one that you would select that's not on our list or on the list? We've got Dish, Altius, Casbah, and Sheets.
Are people dining in at Sheets?
I believe there are places, yes. There are Sheets with tables, and there's like a whole, like, you get your MTOs, and you don't have to leave. Like, they have, like, the cafe, the Sheets Cafe.
I did not know that was a thing. I mean, of that list, I've only ever eaten at Sheets. I've only ever had food from Sheets. So
gotcha.
I would have to say Sheets.
That's good, man. That's good. Well, no, you put Sheets into a tie, so this is good.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. This is good.
But off list, one of my favorite restaurants was Piper's Pub. It's a staple here. It's a cultural center, and they have the best fried chicken in the city, and I do miss that very much so. So
gotta ask you a question, because this is a bone of contention from like 8 months ago with Pete and Dave. Have you ever had the box tea at Piper's Pub?
Yes.
Okay, it's like a brunch thing. Now they have 3 different versions of it, right? What was your take on this? Because I used to love it. Smoked salmon.
I had the fried chicken box tea that had like all kind of shit in it, and it was Yeah. What's the hate about that? I mean,
I don't know. It was about like the iconic nature of the box tee. When we were doing the big Jagoff poll, we were trying to pit certain foods against each other, like specialized. Now the box tea, you could only get that at Piper's Pub.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think we were going to put that against like Pamela's Hot Cakes or something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah. No, the box tea was wild because like on Wednesdays they would always like post pictures of it, and I would be somewhere in an office far away from the South Side, drooling over like the pictures of these potatoes and different shit that. Oh man. So yeah. No, shout out to the boxing. Shout out to Piper's Pub, man. I'm very much looking forward to them opening back up, man.
Cool, man. Well, I am too. So awesome, man. Well, thank you so much. I'm sorry I like teased you out and then brought you back in, but thank you, Dave Bracey. We'll holler at you next week, man. Thank you for everything.
All right, see y'all next week, man.
All right, so we've come to the end of week 47, and we're gonna wrap things up here like we do. But before we do that, Pete, got anything to add? We're going to try to maybe run one more of those videos in lieu of closing credits from the CLO.
So what I was saying earlier is my toe.
And we're good. We're good, Pete. We're good.
You don't want to hear about my toe?
I don't want to hear about your toe. I mean, unless you like end it with calling a tow truck.
No. But like it was like gross. It was nasty. But finally,
my dad will get a kick out of that.
Months, it finally grew out.
Oh, well, good.
Cool.
That's good. All right, well, that's good now. Congratulations, buddy. Congratulations.
See it?
No, so on that, we're gonna wind up the show. We are back next Wednesday. We are gonna have our farm to table segment and a couple other fantastic guests. And then Friday we're gonna have a takeover. Is that this Friday coming up? We're gonna have a takeover, Pete?
No. 26.
No, it's next 26. Never mind. Everything's all good. We got Natalie and Day on Friday, Kate Romaine on Thursday. And thank you. We're going to send you home with one more video from the CLO series. You guys got to check them out. Songs for a New Year. Here it is. Thank you all. I want to thank Mark Fleischer, Natalie Bencivenga, Michael Santiago, Dave Bracey, Pete Spenda, Bunny, Dave Mansueto, and everybody else, and Sophie, whose birthday was yesterday. So, Dave, roll tape if you can. And thank you all very much. Keep wearing a mask and take care of each other. It's a long weekend until I tell you to wear a mask again. So get after it. Don't let the bastards grind you down.
I'm gonna get my shit together, make more money, waste less time, call my parents every Sunday, take up yoga, put down wine. I'm gonna be different next year. I'll be kinder to my body, gain some muscle, lose some weight, fill the fridge with glowing smoothies, count my macros and hydrate. I'm gonna be better next year. You won't even recognize me. Time to grow, time to change, say goodbye to who I was before. Must evolve, rearrange, because otherwise what was this for? And no more smoking either, except on weekends. I'm gonna organize my closet, get my skeletons in a row, stop the constant self-destruction, interrogate the status quo. It's got to be different next year. It's time for reinvention. Gather kindling, light the match, watch this sad life spark and shatter. I'll burn it down and not look back. It's got to be better next year. Don't want you to recognize me. So I'll grow, so I'll change, somehow claw my way up off the floor. I'll evolve, rearrange, because otherwise what was this for? This is not what I wanted, this is not who I wanted to be. I thought I would be braver, staring down tragedy. Stepping up to the plate, thought I'd take a big swing and knock it out of the park, lap up victory. Thought we'd come out unscathed with the choices we made, huddled up safe and sound from the noise of the crowd. But what I didn't know was how quickly you'd go, and that healing comes slow. This is the year that I lost. This is the year that I lost. This is the year that I lost you. This is the year that I lost. I'm gonna get my shit together, break old habits, make new friends. I'll be strong, whole, calm, collected. At least that's what I'll pretend. Please let it be different next year. I don't want to recognize me. Have to grow, have to change, say goodbye to who I was before. Must evolve, rearrange, because otherwise what was this for? What was all this pain and rage for? Have to grow, have to change, I can't stay the way